the ship you start on not only gets attacked by pirates, but an eldritch sea monster. Not exactly a good start. The whole reason you're on that ship in the first place is because you're escorting a princess across the ocean, presumably for political reasons. So after you wash up on the beach and talk to an odd old man, the only place you can go to is the festering banquet. At the top of this fortress is the sodden knight, who we learn is Sir Francis the Resolute, a martyred hero of Tristan, by reading his weapon's description if you chose to make it. If you take the time to study the Origins map in character creation, you'll also know that Tristan is on the western continent. So that would mean we're somewhere by Tristan off the coast of the western continent, right? Wrong. The next major area we go to is the village of Smiles, whose boss is the Queen of Smiles. Again, through item and bestiary descriptions, we learn that the Queen of Smiles was the Mad Queen Linnea who ruled over Livan. But hold on now, Livan is on the eastern continent. Literally the opposite side of the known world from Tristan, if the Origins map is to be believed. What gives? On top of this, we meet a very creepy being that we'll call the Scarecrow. He refers to the player not as a man or a woman, but as a thing. An object. After you get the Vertigo brand and progress through both the Castle of Storms, where you also get the Shadow Flip brand from the thief and meet the Scarecrow again, and the Red Hall of Cages, you can meet the knight in Hager's Cavern if you've talked to him 3 times earlier throughout the game so far. Here, the very first thing he says is the Red Hall of Cages should not be here. He then goes on to explain that the rock is from Ascaria on the western continent and the Castle of Storms is from Kolkhiz on the southern continent. Again, 2 locations from around the world right on top of one another. The knight also questions whether this island has been built by some mad architect. On top of this, the thief that gave us the Shadow Flip brand shows up here as well if you spoke to her in the rock. There, she revealed that she was escorting a prince across the ocean, in the same fashion that you were escorting the princess. Here in Hager's Cavern, she informs you that she found her prince. Problem is, he had a slave's brand. Very troubling. After she asks why her prince a slave, she asks you whether you think your princess was also a slave. Food for thought. As you progress through the game, you'll keep finding famous places and the twisted versions of famous people from all over the world and all throughout the ages like some crazed collection. Eventually you'll find yourself at Siam Lake. This is it. This area and the 3 following it are the final 3 areas of the game, though you wouldn't know this at the time. Here we find the old man from the start of the game. He talks about just how long he's been on this island and how every single shipwrecked sailor that's ended up on this island was betrayed in some form or another before setting out on your respective voyages. He brings up your princess and whether or not it was really her, confirming what the thief feared. After making your way through the Salt Alchemizary, you meet the Scarecrow one last time. It reveals to you that it owns the island, and everything on it. It is the cause of all this mismatched madness. And it issues a challenge to you, find it. Once through the Crypt of the Dead Gods, you arrive at the Still Palace and meet the old man one last time. Here, right before the end, he reveals his name to you, Jarrett. King of Cloudinkus, the Castle of Storms. In his never-ending greed and envy, he made contact with the nameless god. A being whose greed and envy far eclipse Jarrett's. For this god wants the one thing a god can never have. To be born of light. To be truly living, yet oh so ephemeral. But it cannot, for it, like almost all of the beings that trapped on this island, is saltborn. A dying fragment of eternity. And so it collects everything. Hoarding it all on this island like some twisted museum in a mad hope it can collect that which it can never have. Jarrett begs you not to name this terrible being, to leave it as the nameless god. So instead, you kill it. You kill the nameless god. Like all of the other saltborn horrors before you, you kill it. And in doing so, you earn a choice. Salvation, or, if you spoke to the Scarecrow at every opportunity, Dominion. You can either escape the island, or make it your own.